happened here? Oh, there we go. Apparently. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this impromptu Around the Ropes podcast episode right here on the new ATR network. As always, guys, you can hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. And it does wonders for us. So make sure I got the comments going here. Okay, good. This isn't going to be a long one tonight. I just wanted to hop on here for a little bit and talk about the PWI Top 500 list that was just announced earlier today on Busted Open. It was announced, 11 o'clock this morning. So I figured let me just hop on here for a little bit and give my thoughts on it. Again, guys, we'll go more into it this coming Tuesday on when we do the regular show with myself and Ryan Peterson. I'm just trying to share the show so, people can see what I'm doing. Because, I am that freaking good. No, I'm not. I kid. But just bear with me 1 second here. I figured I'm going to do this for a little bit because then we also have an interview that's being taken care of tonight, which I'll get to in a second. I'm just trying to share the show so people can interact with us. So you don't hear me just talking for 2 hours. But again, guys, hopefully everybody is having a fantastic. I can't even see now. I'm like going blind here. This is not fun. Yay. But just bear with me 1 second and then I'll get going. But the PWI Top 500 list it seems like it's always a huge topic amongst wrestling fans because everybody always has the thing of, why is this guy on there? Why isn't this guy on there? Or this guy should be higher. This guy should be higher. And honestly, at this point, I've seen the top 10 list now, and it was a very tough top 10 list, to be honest. And I say that in the meaning of, and I'm going to go through the names in a second. I'm just trying to finish sharing the show. Did not mean to do that. Did not mean to do that one. Just give me 1 second here. Again, guys, if you're watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Greatly appreciate it. While you're there, if you're watching us on Facebook, hit the follow button. Again, it costs you nothing, and it does wonders for us. Just give me 1 more second here, and then I will get going with this list here. Just give me 1 second. One more share, and then it should be good. I whenever I'm sharing stuff on Facebook, I've learned that it's better to share to the point where they block you. Not block you, but they prevent you from sharing anymore. Okay, I did enough on that one. But let me get going now with this list. Again, guys, we are live tonight, so if you have any comments, you can definitely leave them in the comment section below, and we'll definitely pull them up. So basically, with the PWI Top 500 list, basically when the crew is putting together a list, they put it together in a specific type of way. Let me put this up here. So over here. They do it in such a way where it's win-loss record, championship won, quality of competition, major feuds, prominence within a wrestling organization, and overall wrestling ability. So it's not like they just go willy-nilly and go, oh, okay, we'll put this guy here, we'll put that guy there. No, they go through a whole criteria list. So there's a lot of things that come into play. In case you have not been on social media tonight, I will run through the list with you now very quickly. At number 1, he is your current WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the one and the only Seth Rollins. At number 2 is your current Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief himself, the head of the table, John Moxley. Wow. Roman Reigns. At number 3, speaking about John Moxley, your AEW International Champion, the one, the only John Moxley. At number 4, he is your current reigning and defending IC champion, the one, the only Gunther. At number 5, he, I think, holds the AAA world title. He's held it for, I think, 900 years or something. The one, the only El Hijo del Vikingo comes in at number 5. Number 6 is your current AEW World Heavyweight Champion, MJF. Number 7 is Okada. Number 8 is Orange Cassidy. Number 9 is Josh Alexander. And number 10 is Mr. Cody Rhodes. We do have one comment coming in, so I will pull it up quickly. It's Mr. Zubin checking us out. What's going on, Dave? But I find it interesting that, and I was saying this before, I tried to do another live, but I thought this would be better to do it on here, with Josh Alexander, because he was out for a majority of this evaluation. So the fact that he cracked the top 10 is something that really, I'm stunned. Because when you look at what and granted, yeah, he's done phenomenal right now, but just with him, the fact he was out for a while, it was really surprising. Cody being in the top 10, yes, like Josh, Cody was also out for some time. He had the match with Seth at at Hell in a Cell last year. So it was last year when he had the torn pec, but then he was out from Hell in a Cell all the way to till he came back at the Rumble. So you had that. So the fact that, he's at number 10, Alexander's at number 9 is interesting, to say the least. Let's keep things going here. Orange Cassidy comes in at number 8. He pretty much made the international title what it is. I think is the best way I can put it. He really did it. He really did his due diligence with the international title. He defended it not only on Dynamite every week, but he was defending it on Rampage. He was defending it on Collision. He was defending it. I think he had, in his run, like 32 title defenses or something. So that one, here's where it gets tight though. And this is why this list is a very tough list to do. Because like I said, number 8, you have Cassidy. Number 7, you have Okada. Yes, Okada hasn't had a title. Well, he hasn't had a big title, but he definitely has been a prominent feature in New Japan. Here's where it gets tough, though, because you got Gunther, Vikingo, and MJF coming in at 4, 5, and 6. Gunther to me is somebody who it's tough with him, because Gunther, to me, he's held that IC title now for over 400 days. He has pretty much made that IC title mean something, and he's really done something with that belt. Now you're just waiting for him to see who's going to take it off from him. But so then you got El Hijo del Vikingo at number 5. Again, he's somebody who's held that title for a really long time. I think he's held that title. Vikingo's held the AAA title. God, I think close to like 500 days or something, 600 days, if memory serves me right. So, and then you got MJF at number 6. MJF, obviously, right now is your current AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And I know there was a lot of people on social media who kept saying, well, why is he so low? He should be higher. Well, you got somebody like Gunther, who's held the IC title for over 400 days. And you got Vikingo, who's held the title for over 500 days, I think. Or he's held it for a while. I don't know. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. If anybody who's watching who may know, let me know in the comments below. MJF, yes, he's prominent. He's held the title for a while, but he doesn't defend it every week. He's not defending it like Gunther is, like Vikingo is. And it's very obvious. Again, I learned it the hard way because I'm part of a fantasy league, and in our version 1.0 of the fantasy league, I had MJF because I was like, oh, good, he's a champion, he doesn't, he's more on for talking segments. So he doesn't really he hasn't really had. And also, yes, granted, he's had prominent feuds. I mean, he had his prominent feud with Punk. He had his prominent feud with Bryan Danielson, but nothing compared to, especially with Gunther. I think honestly, in the next couple of years, we're talking Gunther as number one. I think if he continues the way he's going, because also, I mean, you look at it this way: Gunther right now is somebody who I don't know if he's going to even drop the IC title at this point. To be honest, he's held that title now for over close to 460 days. So to me, and I mean, if it was me and I'm booking WWE, the first thing I'm doing is as soon as he drops that IC title, whenever it happens, I'm putting him right into a freaking feud for the World Heavyweight title. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to get some more people in here. Bear with me 1 second. But okay. So yeah, like I was saying, guys, if you're watching this, please share this video. Please hit the like button. It costs you nothing. It does wonders for us. Again, guys, this is very much a last minute thing. So if it doesn't sound like I'm real focused right now, yeah, don't be shocked. But just give me 1 second because I'm actually like I said, I'm trying to get more people in here to watch because I love to get some feedback on this and some feedback on everybody's thoughts on on this. Because like I said, it's when you're doing this stuff solo, it's yeah. Hold on 1 second. Just bear with me 1 second, guys. Like I said, I'm trying to take care of this right now. I'm trying to, multitask here, which, that's one thing I've done a lot on this show. But like I said, guys, as far as this list goes, I mean, the fact that you got what's his face, you got Seth, Roman, and Moxley at the top three, I think makes things very interesting in the perspective of this. You go back through the history of pro wrestling, and I'm talking you go back to the days of the Four Horsemen, go back to the days of Evolution, go back to the days of Arn and Tully, go back to the days of, I mean, just go through the list of all tag teams or stables. And you don't realize, a lot of times, a lot of these factions, once they break up, that's it. You don't hear from them anymore. And I'm actually going to take these headphones off because they're making my glasses very foggy. So, again, guys, just bear with me 1 second. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. But yeah. So, and like I said, you look at a lot of these factions, and they are not, how do I put this the best way possible? A lot of times they don't, like I said, they don't really stand the test of time. And a lot of them, just bear with me 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to send the invite quickly. A lot of times they don't stand the test of time, as it's been prominent in pro wrestling. But you look at with the Shield, and you look at what they have accomplished. And it's incredible what they've accomplished. Being that they haven't been around in years, and they have pretty much solidified themselves, I think personally, as one of the best factions in the history of pro wrestling, if not probably the best. Because again, and I said this before, you go back to the days of Evolution, go back to the days of the Four Horsemen, the Heenan family, any of them. And you don't really see them being so prominent right after. So to me, you look at somebody like the Shield. We got a comment coming in here from our buddy Dave. across the pond saying that Seth deserves the top. David, I completely agree. David, I think the thing is with this list, especially with this year, and like I said, if you go through the list and it's in its entirety, you can read it online. It's on the top 10, actually the top 8, I think are the toughest that I've ever seen. Because like I said, you got Seth at 1, you got Roman at 2, Moxley's at 3, Gunther's at 4, Vikingo's at 5, MJF's at 6, Okada's at 7, and Cassidy's at 8. I think any of those guys, to me, you could have flip-flopped any of them, and I think they all would have worked out. Because, like I said before, but I want to get back into the Shield thing for a second. The question I have for you guys is this. Being that the Shield, like I said, the Shield haven't been around since 2018, I think was when they did their final run. Does this pretty much put them now in the histories as being the greatest faction? And I ask that for this reason. When have you ever seen a list where the top 3 guys came out of the same faction? Where, you got, like I said, you got Seth, who I've said it for a while, I think is the workhorse of WWE. Then you had Roman, who obviously we all know what he's doing right now. He's on the ridiculous run of having a title for what seems like an eternity. And then and then you got Moxley, who I said this before. Moxley to me is the heart and soul of AEW. There's nobody else. I mean, yes, granted, do I think the guy deserves a vacation at this point? Absolutely. But he doesn't. But I remember, I think it was right after everything had happened with All Out. Well, it was All Out last year when the brawl happened. And he was supposed to take a vacation. And then obviously we all know what transpired. And pretty much he bailed out on the vacation and decided, let me come back and become the interim champion again until obviously we know what happened at Full Gear when MJF won the title. But so then, like I said, with Gunther, Vikingo, and MJF at 4, 5, and 6, that's where it gets very interesting to me. And I say that for this reason. Gunther, obviously, he's on this monster run of holding the IC title for an ungodly amount of time. And honestly, he's done wonders for that title. That's why I think, realistically, if it was me, I would have flip-flopped Gunther and Moxley. Because, yes, while Moxley's been impressive, how can you beat the fact that Gunther beat a 35-year-old record by himself? And the thing also you have to realize, yes, I know Gunther has, his little cronies there in Kaiser and the bald guy, Da Vinci, but he's done 90% of that on his own. And he's elevated. I feel personally he's elevated the IC title. Because you look at the IC title, obviously we know going back to like the 80s where the IC title really it meant more as a workhorse title. Where if you got the IC title, I'm talking back in the days of Shawn and the days of Brett and the days of, Razor Ramon and, all those guys, it meant that the company had enough faith in you to go to the next level. Got another comment coming in here from David. He goes, thinking about it, I think the Shield could very well be the best faction ever now. I also think Gunther should have been number 2 behind. Interesting, David. David, so what you're saying is you would put Gunther ahead of Roman? I mean, if you listen to our, to me and Ryan every week, I've been stressing that for a long time. I remember a couple weeks ago, we did a whole episode about which title reign was more impressive to me, and I've said it back then. I still say it now. I think Gunther's IC title reign has been a hell of a lot more impressive to me than Roman's title reign. And before I get chastised by the IWC, let me explain. Roman has held that title for over 1,000 days, and that's impressive. Don't get me wrong on that. But how often does he defend that title? Last time he defended the title, from what I remember, SummerSlam, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it was SummerSlam. But yeah, I think it was SummerSlam. But he didn't defend it at Payback. He's probably not going to defend it at Fastlane. he might defend it at Survivor Series. And then you got the Rumble. And who knows if he, and from early indications are saying he's not even advertised for the Rumble, which means the next time he legitimately may defend that title, if he doesn't defend it at Survivor Series, the next time we may see him defending that title is at Mania. Looks like we got another comment coming in here from David. Let me pull that comment up. He goes, Gunther, I can't even read this now. I'm going, impresses, impresses makes me want to watch him every time in the ring. Whereas Reigns, I just want to switch. Yeah, David, you make a point. And again, I'm not trying to put down what Roman has done. I think what Roman has done right now has been impressive. I mean, holding the title for over 1,000 days, that's been done by a couple people. You got, Backlund, Hogan, San Martino, all those guys. But again, look at what Gunther has done. He's held that IC title now for almost 460 days, I think. Yeah, close to. And there's only been one other guy who's held that title for that long in a single title reign, and that's the Honky Tonk Man. That was a record that held true for 35 years, almost 40 years. So to me, what Gunther has done with that IC title is a hell of a lot more impressive because he's brought it back to what it was when I was saying before, with the guys of Shawn and the Brett and Razor and all those guys. He's brought it back to that promised land. That whoever takes the belt off of him, and honestly, I hope it's Gable, because I think those two by themselves have a crap ton of chemistry together. Just give me 1 second. I just want to see something here. Just bear with me 1 second. Nope, not what I want to do. There we go. That's what I want to do. Just bear with me 1 second, guys. Again, you're watching. We are live tonight right here on the new ATR network. Another comment coming in here from David saying, one more comment. Imagine if they could have. Oh, that would be impressive. That would be quite impressive, to say the least. And I'm not talking about the Shield. The Shield. In their second run, because I don't think. I mean, I'm looking at the Shield in their initial run. When they first started, before Seth turned on them in 2014, 2015, I think it was. I don't remember exactly when. But yeah. So, like I said, with Gunther, I know I went on a whole tangent about Gunther here, but my point is this: when you have broken a record that's only been held by one other guy, compared to a record that you broke that's been held by 5 other guys, you tell me which one's more impressive. And anybody who disagrees with me, let me know in the comments below. Do you think Gunther's reign as the IC champion is more impressive than what Reigns is doing, or do you think Reigns is more impressive than what Gunther's doing? Let me know in the comments below. But I want to get back into this list now because there's a few other parts that are kind of interesting to me. Like I said, we talked about Gunther for a lot, but El Hijo del Vikingo at number 5. This one is interesting. I say that in this aspect, that he's defended the title quite a bit. He's held that title for what seems like an eternity. So the fact that, he's at number 5, that doesn't surprise me. I know, like I said, I know a lot of people had their issues with MJF at number 6, because MJF is, like I said, he got the title at Full Gear last year. Was it Full Gear last year against Moxley. Obviously, we all know what happened. William Regal turned on Moxley, gave MJF. Oh, we do have actually a friend of mine from the Asylum Wrestling Group is joining.
What's up? What's going on, everybody?
How you been, Dan?
Oh, John.
What's going on? No, I'm talking about the top 500, the top 10 list right now for the PWI that just came out today.
You know, I was reading that, and the funny thing is it kind of reminds me back in the day when they did it for like the NBA, and it'd be like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman type. Top three. Same thing reminded me of that. It's like the Shield, top three, boom, boom, boom. I mean, Vince saw something in them, and I think Moxley called his bluff and left, and the other two are flourishing, but Moxley's still flourishing too. But it kind of reminds me of that, just like the dream team type.
Oh, I completely
PWI.
Yeah, I completely agree. And in case you didn't hear, I'll run through the list for you quickly, just so then you can hear the top 10. Cody's at number 10. Josh Alexander is at 9. Orange Cassidy is at 8. Okada's at 7. MJF is at 6. Vikingo's at 5. Gunther's at 4. And then obviously the top 3. Who the 3 are.
Cody at 10. Yeah, Josh Alexander, I feel a little too high just because he's been out for most of this year. So, I mean, if you're going off what he did last year, maybe. But I think top 10's a little too high for him. Okada, of course, top 10. Yeah. I mean, MJF, he deserves it. I mean, the guy, he's changed. I think he's made AEW better. And in the beginning, I thought MJF would ruin, AEW with the whole contract. Oh, I'm going to hold out, and pull all that. But, I had a conversation with somebody, took one for the team, and now he's flourishing with what's going on. I think he should be higher. I think he should be higher than Gunther, honestly, because he has a company on his shoulders. Gunther's IC title run, yeah, maybe top 10, but I think MJF, with everything that's on his back right now, especially with the CM Punk controversy too, I mean, I think he should be higher than Gunther, but I don't know who rates these. I mean, it is writers, but what writers,
It's the guys from the PWI who they go through a whole criteria and everything. And I actually have their criteria up here right now as far as what they look at. So that what they do is the way they determine this is win-loss record, championships won, quality of competition, major feuds, prominence within a wrestler's promotion, and overall wrestling ability.
Okay, so I guess you could say Gunther maybe, but because he's probably had a little bit more competition than MJF, because MJF did take that break, and MJF, a lot of his programs run, a few months. Gunther, he went through Drew McIntyre, he went through Ricochet. I mean, he did go through some heavy hitters, so if they're going through that criteria, I mean, if you go with overall fans and people like us who really pay attention to wrestling a lot more than probably some of these writers do, I myself would rate MJF probably higher than Gunther. I would. He does. He's look at his age. He has a whole company on his back, and that company has people in it that could be a heavyweight champion and know how to be a heavyweight champion. And then he gave it to MJF. So, hey,
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I think the way I look at it is, and I was going through some of the, and here's the one thing I left. Probably my biggest shocker of this whole list. Because like I said, I was going through the list earlier. And the fact that you got somebody like Kenny Omega who made it in, but he's number 25.
See, I'm thinking they're going probably with the overall year because Omega was out for a while. I mean, but still, if you go back to PWI Top 500 probably 10, 15 years ago, you're always going to have your staples if they were out or not. I mean, if Kevin Nash only wrestled 5 times in a year, he was in your top 10 every time.
Oh, yeah.
But now they're kind of changing a little bit. And I don't know. I don't agree with Omega being that low. I don't think he should be that low. He's still, I mean, he's letting the younger guys, if he wanted to be that type of guy and be number one, he could be. He could go to Con and say, I want to be it again. And TK is going to have to do it. I mean, it's Kenny Omega.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, he's sitting back, and I don't know if this really hurts him. He has had some, like, lackluster feuds lately. But ever since he left Japan, it's kind of went down a little bit. But him as AEW champion was great.
Oh, yeah. Like, what I laugh is that Cardona made it to number 31.
And that's just because of all those titles. I mean, he's packing every indie title. I mean, I could probably start an indie federation and in 30 days invite him to come out, and he'd probably do it and be my champion. I mean, the guy takes bookings for everywhere. I mean, and like you say, overall wins and losses, the guy's winning everywhere he goes because he's taking every booking. I mean, he gets but he can't win the major one, you know, the one that he wants. He can't win it.
No, but that's what I laughed, though, is he has changed so much since he, left WWE and made it to the indies. The fact that he's only 31, but yet you have guys, because like I'm looking at it now, number 40 is Kenta. Wardlow, who I feel like nobody has seen him in forever, is number. I don't know how somebody like Wardlow made it to number 47 when he's been out for, not even out, but he just hasn't been on TV.
You're probably not going to see him for a while. I don't even think it's injury. I just think TK has too many big guys and has nothing for Wardlow to do. I mean,
I was just going to say, you look at somebody like, I'm surprised that he made it to number 47. In our fantasy league, when we did version 1.0 of this year, I had Wardlow.
Yep.
And and I was like, oh, cool. I got him. He's a TNT champion. Then he dropped the belt that first week. I'm like, come on.
And then nothing.
That's why to me, him. No, go ahead.
No, it's just that's why when I was reading it too, it's like some of these people, I don't understand. I understand the Japanese guys being where they are because they don't wrestle like we do. They don't have pay-per-views every month. They just do major shows. So I can see them being lower, but I mean, some of the people that they have higher on the list, I mean, should a Braun Breaker be in the top 20? Or should, for instance, Hook, should he be in the top 100? You got to look at it that way. I mean, to me, wrestling ability may be there, but I don't see these guys. Like, I don't see Hook being a future 15 years from now. We're not going to be like, oh, God, remember when Hook was a rookie? I don't think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see Hook, same with a lot of these guys. I mean, you're seeing the older guys get knocking down the list just because there's so many younger guys that they want to see high on the list. Some of it I don't understand. I think a lot of it's politics too.
Absolutely.
You got to have AEW. I mean, of course, my biggest thing is I was just glad to see Roman Reigns wasn't number one. And the only reason why you didn't see Roman Reigns number one is because of the win-loss. It has to be. Because Seth Rollins defends that title 4 times a month, if not. Yeah. And Roman maybe once every 3. So I can see it just reminds me of the old Roman's becoming what Brock was at the end of his like big, long, heavyweight title reigns. Just wrestle when he feels like it.
And I was talking about it before you hopped on, that you look at somebody like Roman, I think the last title defense he had, if I remember correctly, was at SummerSlam. If I remember correctly. I don't even think he did it at SummerSlam.
No, he wrestled at SummerSlam, but he hasn't wrestled since.
But and that's the thing though, is he didn't defend the title at Payback. I doubt he's going to defend the title at Fastlane in a couple of weeks.
I don't think he's defending the title till I think they've already said Survivor Series is the next time he's defending.
And that's even if he chooses not, because I read something earlier today, they announced where the Rumble's going to be next year, and they said, yeah, he's not being advertised for it. I'm like, so basically what you're telling your fans is, yeah, we put the strap on Roman, but he's not realistically. If he doesn't defend that Survivor Series, the next shot we may have to see him defend the title is at Mania at this rate.
Yeah. And he'll lose it. He'll lose at Mania no matter where, no matter who. And here's the thing is we all think, oh, Roman Reigns, with TKO and Endeavor taking over, Roman Reigns could lose the title. I mean, tomorrow night I mean, they probably already filmed it, but I mean, with that, they may want to switch things up and they could like strip him or make him lose tomorrow. That's the whole thing is now, even though Triple H is still in charge, you got people that are not Vince McMahon anymore telling you what to do. So, yeah. I mean, it could hurt us or it could. I would really, really like to see Roman. I don't want to see Roman Reigns lose the belt to The Rock because we already know The Rock isn't going to stay. No. The Rock will come in, beat Roman, and then either the next week give the title away or lose it in some BS thing back to Roman or to someone else.
Honestly,
Cody's the ideal. Cody's the ideal. Don't know if that'll happen. If it was for me, if it wasn't Cody, I'd pick Seth. I'd pick Seth to beat Roman, just because Yeah.
As far as me, who I would want, obviously I would love for it to be Cody because I think you finally have him finish the story. I mean, have him finish the story in what some would consider to be a very hostile stadium in Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, that's why they're not letting Cody win the world title from Seth.
No. But if I had to go with another name of who I would love to see take the title off of him, there's one other person. And I think I would go two people. And I said this, on our weekly show. I have a feeling that's when we're going to get the Damian Priest cash in at Mania.
Yeah. What? I can see that, change things up.
And also, people forget he's from Jersey. So you're going to have, in essence, your Seth moment again from WrestleMania 31. What? Honestly, if it's not him, if let's say they have Damian Priest go earlier and it's not him, I would love for it to be Gunther.
I would love to see Gunther and Roman go at it. I think it would be a good match. I think they should let Gunther beat him. Not saying that they will. The thing is Vince, when he picks somebody, and even though he's not the owner anymore, it takes a lot for him to dethrone. Look at Cena. I mean, they're still making a ton of money off Cena. And that guy, I mean, look at him. I mean, but Roman, I just don't know if they're going to let like someone like Gunther beat him. I mean, they may let him beat him, but I don't know for a title. That's just like Carmelo Hayes, for instance. I was thinking about this. He keeps defending against the same people over and over and winning. But you think if he comes up to the main roster, they're going to give him a world heavyweight title shot like anytime in the near, and not saying color related because there's, a ton of talent that is African-American, but is he going to get the title shots that he's gotten at the next level?
I don't think so for one reason. I know Hunter is in charge of creative, but it still comes down to Vince. And we've seen how Vince treats guys who come from NXT. I mean, great example. Look at Keith Lee from a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You had this guy who was prominent. He was a force in NXT. They bring him up to the main roster. Yeah, he had that great, 3 matches with Randy. I know he had the win over Randy at, oh God, was it SummerSlam, I think?
Yeah, he did really good there for a while, and then they just threw him under a rug. Like, here you go. You're now, I don't know if Vince sabotages it himself. They did it with Bobby Lashley too. I mean, how many times, has you put a title on Lashley and it's been gold? It's been golden.
Exactly. We're now being joined by, not to cut you off for a second, we're also being joined now by Shiv.
I
don't know why my camera's not working, so I apologize.
He's coming on to tell us how many Canadians made the PWI.
I haven't even looked at the PWI, so I have no clue.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think it's a lot of this year was political. You could just look at the top 10 and tell, but
Well,
I mean,
shit. Did you see the top 10 list, or do you want me to go over it for you just so that you know who is in it?
I was looking it up like literally as we speak.
Okay. But I mean, we were talking about it before. I think once you get past the top three with Seth, Roman, and Moxley, it gets very, very dicey. Because you have Gunther, who's held that title for as long as he has. Vikingo's held the AAA title for I don't remember how long at this point. Cassidy with the amount of title defenses he's had. So it gets very hit or miss, I feel like.
Actually, I'm looking at the list and I'll be honest, I don't disagree with like the top 20.
The only disagreement I had was the MJF. And I'm not an MJF fan, but I think MJF should have been higher just because I know the criteria, what John said the criteria is, but if I was on that panel, that dude's carried that company with the CM Punk shit and everything. That guy still is money. And I think he should have been higher than an Orange. He should have been higher than an Orange Cassidy. He should have been. I mean,
Isn't he
but
6 though compared to Orange? Orange was 8.
oh no, not 6, but I mean Gunther. I think he should have been higher than Gunther. I do. That's just my personal opinion. I get title defenses and things like that, and Gunther defends everything. But I mean, MJF, he's done a lot in the last year for that company. I mean, just look.
It is,
I
but
mean,
I think that's only like you got to take that into a grain of salt that it's only so far though. His win-loss record was not very.
Oh, I know, and that's the thing.
Right?
Just like we were saying with Roman and Seth, those two switched. The only reason why those two switched is because Seth had way more title defenses and wins than Roman did. Probably in the last 2 years, Seth probably beat him out in half a year this year. So, I mean, that's why Seth's number one. But you give Roman the same title defenses, they would have made Roman number one.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
but go ahead, Shane.
The one thing I thought, and I kind of follow wrestling, a little bit, probably more than the average, person. Like the average person looking at this PWI 500 is going to sit there and go, why is Vikingo number 5? But like, if you even followed his AAA stuff, like in his run there, and only know him from AEW, where to be honest, he isn't like very prominent outside of his like first few matches in that, like you're gonna sit there and question and go, how did this guy make it in the top 5? And honestly, if you haven't seen his work outside of AEW, you're like criminally, limiting.
You're not
yourself.
a fan. That's the thing. Is you got to know these guys.
You're criminally like limiting yourself, right? Like even at that, I think there's some people like Josh Alexander who honestly is out for. I mean, he was probably the one that shocked me.
That's what we were talking about right away. Alexander being that high.
For where Josh Alexander landed, he was out from, I would say, May or so? Like he got injured, and
yeah,
that's only 6 months, so half a year. And I know he was very prominent and had some great matches, but I think he also he wasn't outside of like some indie stuff, and I don't know how much that's weighed into it, but he's the one that shocked me of where he landed. I was like 9. I was like, okay, all right. Sonata, I think, tore it up along with Okada in Japan. They were both great. And I was also shocked at where Trey Miguel landed in that 20 spot. I definitely was shocked to see him where he was.
I think the biggest shocker for me. Oh, we got another person joining us.
Jeff. Oh, it's Jeff, our little bitch.
No,
our
it's
little
not
bitch
Jeff. It's
No,
not
it's
Jeff.
Archie.
Oh, it's Archie. Oh, it's Archie.
What's going
The
on,
thing with
Archie?
the thing with the Japanese guys though is if they go by that, they don't wrestle like the Americans do, like all the time. They don't do it and then when they go by win-loss, that's why a lot of them are where they're at. But like Osprey, for instance, look where he's at. I mean, that guy is money gold wherever he is, and but he didn't wrestle. He was injured. So look, you would have gave him a full year of wrestling and wouldn't have had to drop his title. He would have been in the top 10.
Who?
Will.
Oh, Osprey. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been in the top 10 if he wouldn't have got hurt. The guy, I mean, he was killing it and then he got hurt.
Well, I think the biggest shocker for me, and I was telling you beforehand, is the fact that Wardlow made it to number 47.
Wardlow. He should have been like number 447.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, maybe I'm just a little biased because he kind of screwed me with the fantasy league. But to me, it's like they were doing so great with him that all of a sudden he drops the belt. And believe me, I still remember the night he dropped the belt. And they were like, okay, well, now that you don't have the TNT title, we're not doing anything with you.
Yeah, I don't know how Wardlow ended up so high on that list, to be honest, as well.
I don't know. I think that was their way of
AEW guys are high on that list. A lot of them that should not even be in. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's political. A lot of read the list. Half the AEW roster is really high. Really high.
Yeah. I mean, like I left, you got this guy here, Jake Lee. I don't know who he is.
Jake Lee?
Yeah, he's at number 23.
Who the
And
hell
he
is
beat
Jake
out. No, go ahead, Archie.
Lee? I said, who the hell is Jake Lee?
And mind you, he beat out. I'll just read you the three guys he beat out: Chris Jericho. He beat out Kenny Omega and Drew McIntyre. Oh, he also beat out Adam Page.
So Jericho, I could see him being where he's at because that guy's been taking it for the team a lot. That guy's been beat up the last year. I don't even. When's the last time Jericho won a match? I mean. Do you know? I mean, every time I see him, he's lost. I mean, lately he wrestles these guys and loses to them on purpose. So, yeah. I mean, I can see him doing that, but Jake Lee, I've never heard of him.
He's a Japan wrestler. He's you guys. I stepped away for a second, but Jake Lee's in. He's the current reigning GHC heavyweight champion. He's in Pro Wrestling Noah right now. He's doing really well there. He's had some like really good matches and tag matches there. He had a good match with Timothy Thatcher over there. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Isn't he? He used to be part of a tag team, and then he went single, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first I'm ever hearing about him. But then, like I laugh, you look at Cardona, and we were talking about this beforehand, Dan. Cardona's at 31.
Yeah. Like I said, though, I mean, you're winning every title on the indie circuit. I mean,
but he's you know what? He's somebody else that I recently just watched the Cody Rhodes documentary about Cody going and doing what he did on the indies and really making a name for himself. And I think somebody like Cardona saw that success, and I think he's done really well, to be honest, with what he's done and gone out there and made a brand and a name for himself. I think he gets a bad rap for kind of how he is, but I think he plays his character to a T and his gimmick. I think he kind of is somebody that lives it all the time, and he is who he is. But he's created buzz though on the indie scene, and I'm surprised. Right now I think he's not locking himself into anywhere long term, kind of like Cody did. Not signing and staying someplace long term. He's done some handshake deals and nonverbal stuff with companies, and I think he's going to. He's gonna, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back somewhere in the WWE or maybe even in AEW after he's shown like, hey, like this is what I can do. This is the buzz I can create. People want to see me, right? He's killing it, I think, as the deathmatch king. And I don't think anybody would have ever thought he was a deathmatch wrestler.
No, no.
Right?
He was a gimmick guy for me until he left WWE. He was just always one of those guys, you know. He'd be one that just go down to the ring and get beat up by whoever was new, you know, and enhanced talent, basically. I felt that's what they did to him. They do it to Dolph Ziggler, too. They still do it to those certain people. Dolph just takes it. Cardona was smart and got up and left. You're right. I don't see him landing back in WWE right away. I see him hitting AEW and maybe doing like a couple months there. But he's another guy that's smart to stay away from he's smart to stay away from the big federations right now with what's going on with the rosters just being so packed. I mean you're not going to get a fair shot.
No, but I think also you have to realize, he just won the Premier Streaming Network title this past weekend at the Wrestling Showcase, which I happen to know about that because my co-host normally, Ryan Peterson, was the ring announcer for that. So believe me, I've heard all about that one. But again, that wasn't me taking a shot at Ryan, but like, here's another one that kind of surprised me. Jack Perry is number 73. To me, that's more like a, yes, granted, he's been out now for the last month or so because he got suspended, but is he somebody who really should be in that top 100?
No. What has he done? Besides rebrand himself from Jungle, maybe they're taking in the Jungle Boy persona as part of it, but what has he done? And then he goes and does this with CM Punk.
I'll be right back. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just like it's a lot of them are the same. A lot of them are that way. It's like Christian. He should be. What is Christian? He wasn't in the top 100.
I've gone through this list now a couple of times. I haven't seen his name.
I don't think he's on it.
No, but like, okay, it's funny. Here's and it's sad. You don't have somebody like him, but you have somebody like I just heard here a second ago. Okay, AJ Styles, number 99.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, that like I'm saying, it's just a little bit. Some of these are insulting. Like AJ Styles is not. AJ Styles is a top 100 wrestler. But he should be ahead of Jack Perry. He should be
like, okay, I'll give you this one. At number 96, you got Billy Starks.
Yeah.
I don't take anything away from her. I think she's a very prominent wrestler, and she's a good wrestler. I've talked to her. Actually, I've interviewed her twice now before she got signed to AEW. And she's good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think she's top 100.
No.
Somehow Shibata made it number 104, which I can't figure out for the life of me how he's that low.
Shibata. Yeah. He's another AEW guy. Hey. You don't have to wrestle in AEW as long as you have that affiliation. I don't know. It would be interesting to take that list and divide just TNA, Impact, AEW, and WWE and see where they are wrestling-wise, who fell where, and how many got what. Is there more AEW guys than WWE guys? Is there more? Well, there's going to be more of those guys in Impact, totally, because Impact maybe have what? 50, 60 guys, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. But also, I think the problem.
You got AEW's pushing well over 100 at least.
But I think the thing also you have to realize, you look at something like Impact. I think a lot of it also is because they're on a channel that nobody have access to.
Yeah,
that's half the problem. And I've always made the joke on the show. I'm like, it's kind of a double entendre where the network they're on is called Access TV, but nobody has access to Access TV.
And another thing is with TNA too is they look who they have. They got some stars, but they don't have any major.
No, and I think the only thing I'll say with Impact is I feel like Impact is one of the most underrated companies out there.
They just don't want to spend the money like they used to. Look how Impact was spending money before, or who took them over? Anthem?
Anthem, yeah.
Before Anthem, they were spending money like water, like Bischoff was spending money in WCW, and the product was going nowhere. I mean, now at least they've gotten away from bringing in every name that's been released. I mean, what's the last big name they brought in? Is Trinity. I mean, and right now she's probably the most popular thing going on for TNA.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then like I'll give you this one at number 121 is Effie, who's obviously big on the independent scene.
Yeah, and that's the thing is too is you're going to get these independent guys that are going to get high because they wrestle night to night, and they have their following.
Yeah,
but then you got the guys that have been on TV for years who are way down low.
Okay, I'll give you this one. I think if we're talking about this list next year, I think this guy's going to be much higher than where he is, and that's LA Knight.
Oh, where's he at?
He's at number 130.
He should have been he should have been ahead of Jack Perry. And it doesn't matter where he should have been. He should have been in the top 100. Oh, he'll be in the top 10, if not the top 20, top 10 next year.
Yep.
I mean, he could be in the top 5 depending on if Triple H uses him the way he should use him.
And to me, it's like you look at a lot of these guys. I mean, you got I'm trying to see here who else you got here.
Where's Chad Gable? Where's Chad Gable on that list?
I didn't see him on here.
That's another guy who wrestles every night, who wrestles almost every Raw, and doesn't get the credit, even though he loses, doesn't get the credit he deserves. He gave Gunther a run for his money. And if anybody would have been smart, they would have booked him versus Gunther after Gunther got the record and then let Gable win, because you're going to make more money with Gable as that IC champion than you are Gunther right now.
I totally agree. Like, okay, I'll give you this one. Somehow Matt Riddle's on number 164.
Matt Riddle should be like number 500.
Granted, I'll put it this way: in ring, he's great in the ring. I'm not taking that away from him. But outside the ring, with all the issues he has, he's more of a basket case outside the ring.
He reminds me of Brian Pillman at the end.
Yeah. I could see that.
He reminds me of Brian Pillman at the end, just didn't care what WWE said and just did it his own way and left, and then they needed him back. He did. He's just that loose cannon type guy who just rather smoke his weed and do whatever he wants than to make the money that he could have been world champion probably a year ago. He could be in Seth's spot right now if he would have did it right.
Yeah.
He could have been. His popularity was so through the roof, and then bam, suspension for weed. See you later.
Yeah. Like, I'm just looking here right now. Number 200 is Joe Gacy.
Yeah. Then again, they're going by appearances on TV, and I mean, the guy's on TV every week.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, that's the guy that you're not going to see on main roster. And if you do, he ain't going to be on the main roster for long.
No.
Where's Bray Wyatt? Where's Bray Wyatt on that list?
I didn't even see him because like I said, I've been going through this list a couple of times. I might have missed him.
Because he was out for most of the year. He may not even have made the top 500, but do you put him in the top 500? Not because he died or anything, but is he a top 500 caliber over some of these guys? Even anybody in the top between 400 and 500, Bray Wyatt should have been on that list. Doesn't matter if he's wrestled the last year or not. Which he has. And he came back and he didn't even lose. He didn't even lose to anybody before he left. He got hurt and then was done.
I'm noticing a lot of the guys, especially now where I'm at, which is number 250. I'm noticing a lot more of the independent guys, because you got guys like Charles Mason. You got guys like Charles Mason, who's very big with House of Glory here in New York. I'm trying to see who else. Action and Dragon. Obviously, I know he's with AEW, but he's also very big with Maryland Wrestling.
He was big way before AEW anyway. So just like Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne's probably on that list.
Yeah, he was like 140 something from what I saw.
And that guy, and Nick Wayne was all indie scene until a month ago before he hit AEW. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can't take that away from a guy.
No, like I'll give you this one. Lindsay Dorado is number 264, and he hasn't been on any big promotion since he left WWE.
Like I say, this list is a little bit biased, and political. I mean,
And then let me see who, I want to see who, because the big thing also they always talk about is who number 500 is. And number 500 this year is a guy by the name of Andre Chase.
independent guy. We already know that. He's an indie
Oh, yeah.
guy.
More than likely.
Oh, wait. No, never mind. I'm thinking the guy's first name's Chase, the guy from NXT.
Chase.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you this one. Here's a funny one. At number 492 is George South.
George South.
Who the last thing I knew he did was he just was in a match last Friday, actually, with a company here in New York called We Are Wrestling. We took on another independent talent by the name of Darius Carter.
Is Frost on that list? Oh yeah, Frost. No, not Frost.
Yeah.
Storm. The NWA guy. God, I can't think of his first name, but he's always like coming back and fighting Aldis when Aldis was champion. I swear his last name was Storm. I had never heard of him before, but I guess he'd been like it. What?
The Cowboy? I didn't see him on here. Yeah, I didn't see him on here.
Is Aldis even on there?
Yeah, I think he was he was in the top 50 from what I saw.
Yeah, see that, and there you go. Nick Aldis hasn't done nothing since, and he's in the top 50. The guy isn't even wrestling anymore.
I think now he's a producer from last
for WWE. For WWE, yeah. And they can't find, and they want him to be an on-air talent, but where are you going to put him? Who? I mean, it's Nick Aldis. You can't have him come in and be a jobber to anybody, really.
Honestly, if it's me, I'd love to see him go up against, with his pedigree of what he's done, have him go up against Seth.
Yeah, but they're not going to let Triple H will not let Aldis wear that title. Not from the history they have. I was honestly shocked he even went back after all that. You know,
I completely agree.
They all go back. They all chase that paycheck at the end.
Yeah, and not only that, the other one that I'm kind of surprised about, or no, not even. I think another thing they could have done with all this is if you really wanted to have him go up against Gunther for the IC title.
That would be a good match. They both are pretty scientific wrestlers.
Yeah.
Do you remember when PWI would take the 500 and then put it into like a tournament form in their book where they would open it up and they would put like 500 versus one, kind of like the NCAA tournament?
Yeah,
I wish you would do that again. That was fun. I like that because I remember buying those magazines. They were really thick, and they went through and did bios on everybody.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I mean, let me ask you this now. Overall, obviously, we went over the top 10 for a while. What would be your grade for the top 10 part?
Oh, the top 10's easily, I would say A-. Like I said, there's a few. Josh Alexander shouldn't be in the top 10. I think MJF and Gunther should have switched. Other than that, I think the top 10's pretty solid. I do think they got the top 3 right just with the switch, with Seth being on top. I mean, you have to give it to Seth. But I think the Josh Alexander really made it. To me, that's the only, that and the Gunther thing. And the MJF, A-. Yeah. They could have got it worse. I mean, they could have put a woman in the. I'm not saying women wrestlers are bad, but you go by wins and losses and types of things. If there would have been any woman you would have put in the top 10, which woman would it have been?
Yeah, and I think I know they announced for the women's side. I know they announced that it's not going to be the top 250. I think, from what I heard.
Yeah, but if you put women in this list, if you put women in this top 500, which woman would be in the top 10? There's only one I can see, maybe two. Two. I can see 2.
First one to me that comes to mind is Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley's top 10. Rhea Ripley would have probably not. I would have put her in probably up near like 6. Her popularity and just her dominance, and then even though Charlotte lost to her, Charlotte is still. She's top 10.
Yeah.
Becky, yeah. Women are
Becky-
another. That'll be a good one to do. The women will be a good one because that's where you'll really see the political part of it with the women more than you will the men.
Absolutely, I totally agree. But Dan, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it a
Oh
lot.
hell yeah! I have to
And
get my kid to bed. It's what, 7 almost? Yeah, I got to get my kid to bed. I got to work in the morning. Anytime, man. I'll join you anytime.
Absolutely. But guys, this has been Around the Ropes Live. You can catch us live every Tuesday night, and we'll have a crap ton of YouTube exclusives coming up as well. Again, I want to thank Dan for hopping on. It was great. I want to thank Shiv for hopping on. I want to thank Archie for sort of hopping on for a minute. But again, guys, you can catch us live every Tuesday night, live right here on the new ATI network. Hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It does wonders for us. If you're hit the follow button on Facebook. Again, it costs you nothing. It does wonders for us. And while you're there, also, share the videos. I know I just uploaded 2 videos today with we did 2 interviews today. One with the lovely Miss Gemma, who is a valet from upstate New York, and she does a lot of shows in Connecticut. You definitely want to check out that interview. And I also dropped an interview that I had done with Sebastian Braun about 24 hours ahead of 48 hours from when we're live right now, ahead of his match with Big Time Bill Collier at Immortal 30, happening this Saturday from Westmoreland, New York. So definitely you can get your tickets for that. I think I just saw something that tickets are $5 each, whatever tickets are still available. So I would highly recommend getting your tickets if you can get up to Westmoreland, New York. And it looks like it's going to be a great card. Again, guys, if you're an independent wrestling fan, this weekend is a fantastic weekend for you. You got Creative Pro happening tomorrow night. You got Immortal 30 and Titan Blaze of Glory both on Saturday. And Sunday, you got it wrapped up with Wrestle Pro happening in Broadway, New Jersey. Again, guys, go check out independent wrestling. It's a fantastic thing to be a part of. But on that note, guys, we'll catch you guys next time.